what Oxford's going to be like, friends, but I can tell you, after having lived in 3 Australian cities so far, Sydney has to win the award for most memorable... You don't even know what the award's for yet. Oh, Sydney has to win any award anyway, but the award I was thinking of was for most memorable public transport experiences. I was riding on the 436 bus into the city one morning. It was a Monday morning, 10:30, and surprisingly, actually, for a Sydney bus, there was only 3 of us on the bus this morning. There was me. Across the aisle, there was a lady wearing a Victoria Coffee t-shirt. She was obviously on her way to work in a cafe somewhere. And just a seat away from me was an old guy with a trolley bag who desperately needed a bath. We were heading down Parramatta Road, and we pulled up to... that's not a good sign, is it? Working on it. We were heading down Parramatta Road, and we pulled up to a lady in her mid-50s. I think she wore a faded floral dress. She hobbled onto the bus, and ignoring the 100 empty seats in the bus, decided to sit right down between me and Trolley Man. She also had what we might describe as a unique fragrance about her. I saw Victoria Coffee Girl to the side of me, look around the empty bus, and then look at the 3 of us huddled together. She looked at me and she smiled. We kept on going down Parramatta Road, my friends and I in silence, when suddenly Floral Lady did the most extraordinary thing. She turned and she thrust her face into my head. She came so close, it was like the hairs on her chin were kind of tickling me. Suddenly her eyes were bulging, her stained teeth were bared, and in the loudest, freakiest voice you've ever seen or heard, she said, "I'm all right, aren't I?" Don't you think Sydney wins the award for the most memorable public transport experiences? Now, I don't know about you, but when I'm in a situation like that, well, I jump, and then I start thinking about, the appropriate reply. And of course, in a situation like that, they've given you a question, you've got to reply, but there's only a fraction of a bit of time to actually think about what your response was. I couldn't think of anything appropriate to say, and so I did what any Bible college-trained, theologically astute, wholeheartedly devoted Christian would do in a situation like that. I lied. And I said, "Well, of course you're all right." And Floral Lady looked me in the eye and she said, "Well, some people think I'm funny in the head." And I said, "Now, why would they think that? Why would they think that?" She said she didn't know, and she fell into silence. I tried to engage her in more conversation. I asked her what she was doing with the rest of her day, and she had gone, though. Her thoughts were away in the clouds. We kept on rattling our way down Parramatta Road. And I don't know whether it was my company she got bored with, or maybe Trolley Man's odour, but after a period of time, Floral Lady got up from her seat and she started crossing the aisle. And ignoring the 100 empty seats in the bus, she went and sat next to Victoria Coffee Girl. I smiled and waved. And then she did it to her. "I'm all right, aren't I?" And you saw Coffee Girl just jump out of her skin, and you could see her mind was racing for a reply, and she said, "Oh, yes, you're all right. Some people think I'm funny in the head. Now, why would they think that?" Then she fell into silence again. Coffee Girl also tried to engage her in more conversation. Silence. 10 minutes later, Floral Lady does pipe up, and she says how every month she has to go and see a doctor and have an injection. But if truth be known, it's the doctor who should have the injection. Because I am all right, aren't I? And I thought to myself, how many more times will that question be asked before the day is through? And I thought to myself, how deep is the anxiety in that woman's soul who longed for assurance so desperately that she would seek it from any old stranger on the 436 bus? Now, there's no doubt that my floral-dressed, bulging-eyed, freaky-smiled friend was a little out of the ordinary, that's for sure, but I've got a suggestion. I don't think that she is any different to any of us. I actually think all of us have deep questions that settle on our hearts, questions which we actually have a certain anxiety about finding the answer over. Oh, they lie just below the surface, and they're crowded out by the noise of life. But in the quiet moments, maybe when we're lying in bed waiting for sleep to come, maybe when we're quietly sitting on the 436 bus making its way into Sydney, they surface. And when they become so loud that we can't ignore them anymore, we set out on a bit of a search to find some answers for those questions. It was George Bernard Shaw who once said that if you want to understand how a society thinks, look at what it searches for. And after I've read and I've reflected and I've listened to so many guests and callers in Open House and then a decade of broadcasting before Open House, 4 questions come to mind for me. 4 questions, it seems to me, are bubbling up from the nation's soul, if you will. 4 questions which I think we are anxiously searching for answers to, even without maybe even recognising it yet. They're just bubbling up on the surface. And tonight I just want to explore those 4 questions with you and just see how they might affect the way you go about doing your ministry, the work that you do in your community. I think you're going to find it's quite profound.